All right, everybody, here we go again. So if you have not already seen the Flex Ruby AI Intellichat for Beginners 001 splainer, please go back and do that first before you continue here, because this is going to sort of take off from where that began. Now, if you kind of still feel like this guy when you're using Ruby, or you just don't know how to use Ruby, then you really need to see that splainer. But this one will continue basically from where that one left off. So now to share my screen here. Hopefully you're seeing the screen now. Can't quite tell if you can. So, all right, I think we're good. All right, so once you sign into Ruby AI and you go to your Intellichat, for now we're going to work with my workspace. I mentioned last time that you can create at least one more, and then I'm going to still use the default project, although you can have a bunch. So to go a step further, if you do create your own workspace, an additional one, you can name it whatever you want, and you'll notice that once this loads here, I have, there we go. So several different projects within it. So this is something else that you can do too. But now I'm going to go back to where you and I were last time. So we're at the default project and you've created some stuff, but oops, where did it go? I don't know. You might not know. So right over here, you see, hopefully you can see my pointer here. There's this pink box sticking out here, and it's got a couple of these kebabs, and you open this up and it has a whole bunch of stuff. Now, all of these things are topics that I created in my workspace. Not in this creator workspace, but in my workspace. Okay, so once you're in your workspace, the stuff that you created will be in this pull-out drawer right here. So if at some point you can't find stuff, you may have saved it when you were in a different workspace. And you might be saying, well, wait a minute, I didn't save anything. Well, yeah, actually every chat is saved. So last time you might have recalled that we had created something that said, please create 8 social media messages under 60 words and so forth. So that's what is in this filing cabinet. So right here, these are all the different topics that we talked about. So we started off with what is Ruby good for last time? And then Ruby told us this. And then you might recall that after that, we decided that we were going to pretend we didn't like that response. So we went to a different chat model. So first we used GPT-40 Mini. And then the second time we used Command R1240, I believe it is. All right, so now you can tell how to get back to your old stuff. This is the history. So you're gonna, I hope you can see that my cursor. This is where you get the history of stuff. So when you go into Ruby, typically this screen may be empty, and you'll see this pink thing sticking out here with the 2 kebab menus above themselves. And then you can go back and say, all right, what did I talk about? So please create an email series. Oh, 5 emails. Oh, I remember doing that. That's the one I want. Oh, create 6 social media messages. So you go back to that one. Now you may be saying, well, wait a minute. After the 5 emails, we did 3 more. What's going on here? Great question. Watch this. When we initially clicked or used the prompt to create 5 emails, you may recall that I did not go to a new chat afterwards. So here's the 5 emails. We did the 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I said, please create an email series of 3 follow-up. So that Intellichat is within the 5 email Intellichat prompt because we didn't click on a new chat. So this will continue. And the Intellichat will understand and know everything that you've done up to that point. Here's something really special now. Let's say that I decide to change the model to whatever I wanted to, and then ask it another question or ask it to do another task. That new model, because I didn't click new chat, is going to know all the stuff we talked about, and it's going to continue on with that in its memory as though it's one conversation. So I mentioned last time to think of these models as a brain. So this particular brain is the Claude 3.5 Sonnet brain. And you might say, well, I appreciate your opinion, but I'm going to go to a different friend, my friend Command 4096, or my friend Claude 3 Haiku, or my friend Gemini 1.5 Pro, whatever you want to go to. So it's almost as though it's a conversation, and you can talk to up to 10 people because you only have 10 friends. Come on, you're not as popular as me. But let's be real now. You've got 10 friends here, and you can choose any one of them to continue this conversation. Now, if you want to leave 9 of those guys out of the conversation, well, then you click new chat, and you're going to start a whole new chat. All right. So this is getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty of what you can do. It's really important because you might have taken these 5 emails, you set up your whole email funnel and all that, and then you realize, oh no, I didn't remember to put my link in the email. So now you can say, please recreate all of these emails, making only one change, and that is to include my hyperlink. Here's my hyperlink, and it'll put it in there for you. I haven't been too successful with it then going back into the other areas where I need it. So when it pastes, it doesn't always paste as a hyperlink. Sometimes it does. So that's a different feature that you can work with. So it may or may not work. So maybe that wasn't the best example, but hey, I'm flawed too. Another thing you can do is maybe you said, oh, wow, I didn't think of this, but what if some of these emails are not compliant? There is a way to check the compliance. So in this case, these are fake businesses, right? So we're not going to have any compliance to worry about. But what we can do is, let's say that there was a particular opportunity, maybe it's a network marketing opportunity, and they have some strict guidelines as to what you can do and say. So what you could do is you can load in their terms of service and ask one of the Ruby chat models to make sure that it's compliant. So there's a few ways that you can do that. You can paste your chat directly into this. I hope you're seeing my cursor here. Paste that right into the menu. You can say, please ensure that all of the above email messages are compliant with the following terms of service. And then you paste the terms of service in there, you hit enter, and it's going to churn through and give you some kind of response. Or you can do what we call anchoring. We're getting real fancy now, aren't we? All right, so we're going to go over to this anchoring. Now look what we can do. We can click the anchoring button, and we can paste the URL of those terms of service right in here. Now, don't forget to click the button, because if you don't, it's going to look at you and it's going to laugh. You're going to be clicking on it, going crazy, and you're not going to be able to type anything. You got to click the anchor URL, and then you can type the URL in here, or you can paste the URL in here. Once you have that URL, you can go down into this window and you can say, please verify that the above emails that you've so generously created for me are compliant with the anchored URL. I go a step further and I repaste the URL in the chat window. You don't have to do that, but I'm anal, so that's what I do. Another thing that you can do is you can put the PDF into Ruby's brain here. Now, you're not going to be successful unless you uncheck the URL. You're just going to confuse the chat model. So what you do is you uncheck that, and now you upload. You click this button right here, and you're going to upload your PDF. And once you upload your PDF, then you can come back down to the prompt window, and you can say, hey, Ruby, please verify that the above emails meet the compliance per the anchored PDF. And you're good to go, and it's going to give you some kind of response. So I'm not going to go through all of those yet, because I don't want to get too far into it. I want you to learn to navigate yourself. So now you're getting familiar. By now, you should have, for several days, you should have done what I suggested in the first module. And that is to say, to go into this Ruby window and create some stuff every day for a certain length of time and just do the same thing methodically. You can try using the different chat models, or you can use the same chat model. But as long as you had gone in here and you asked Ruby to do something in terms of this prompt window, every day, just getting used to it, get into the habit of that, and getting into the mentality of it. Because again, think of these models as brains. So when you're talking to Claude 3.5 Sonnet, you may say something and get a different response than if you talk to one of the other models. But once you understand how Sonnet, Claude 3.5 Sonnet responds to the way you input your prompt, you can then be more efficient about those prompts. Now, again, this is getting to the weeds a little bit because for the most part, it's going to be seamless to you. You're not going to really notice the difference at first. But as you get into it, you're going to start to notice the difference in each of the chat models. So we're learning to navigate a little bit more through Ruby. I'm not going beyond that for this presentation. It's just important for you to, again, I'm reinforcing that you have workspaces and you have projects, and then you have history. So the history is associated with a workspace, not with a project. And once you start getting, as you can see, I have tons and tons and tons of stuff. It just keeps going and going and going. And you can see what I input for that particular workspace. And I really don't use this workspace a lot. So most of this stuff is kind of old. And the title of each of these is going to be your prompt. So we saw earlier here that the very first prompt that this particular chat conversation is based on is going to say, please create a series of 5 emails. So that's why we see over here, please create a series of 5 emails. But when you start getting too many of these, you're going to realize that you're going to want to start naming them. And I should say that this title here takes the first, I think it says the first 35 characters, but it does go beyond that of whatever your prompt is. So what I do on my prompts is I start off with a word. So I'm going to go to my creator now, my creator workspace, and I'm going to select one of the topics that I've done recently. So this is going to be one of the projects that I have named. So interestingly now, again, you're going to see a blank screen, but under the history, the first word here is PowerPoint. See, now that's how I began the prompt. In capital letters, I put PowerPoint so that when I'm scanning through this list, because we're not able to sort it alphabetically or by keyword or anything like that. So as I'm scrolling through, it's actually chronologically saved. So the first word is PowerPoint. So that's going to remember anytime I want to go back and say, okay, what did I ask Ruby to do regarding PowerPoint? That's what I'm going to come to. The next one I happen to have here is marketing types. So please list all of the marketing types and so forth. Melaleuca. I was doing something on Melaleuca. Please write a 1 to 3 paragraph description. See, didn't do it. So now I don't know what this is. 1 to 3 paragraph description of who, what, where, why, when, how. Whoa. Now I'm starting to look like this guy over. I don't know if you see my little window in here. See me? That's what I'm starting to feel like. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You want to remember to use the first word concept. Now, a lot of people put in the first word and a date, or they put in the date and the topic, or however you want to do it. Come up with some kind of an organizational system that you can use. So, for instance, the next item here is Ruby. So whatever this chat is about, I know that it has something to do with Ruby. So please create a 1 to 3 paragraph description. Okay, so whatever that was, let's in fact find out what that was. So I'm going to scroll all the way up. And the way I scroll is I just put my mouse over the window and I roll the mouse button. But please provide a 1 to 3 paragraph description of the Flex Rubi.ai opportunity. So that's what I've done here. So what I should have labeled this is Ruby opportunity description or something like that. But you can see now the next one is Live Good. The next one is a new network marketers struggles. So I wanted to write something for new network marketers on the struggles that they might become entangled in, because that's what it's going to feel like, right? When you look like that guy, you're going to start feeling a little entangled in your own web. And then I need to create a survival guide. Now that's for a personal, so I actually, these aren't all professional. I have a project for personal, but again, these can't be sorted by personal. We're asking Ruby to do it. We'll see what they do. It's been quite a while. I don't think they're going to do it, but I'd like them to. So I'd like Ruby to do one of three things: either allow us to sort by keyword, or allow us to sort by topic, or allow us to sort by project. And that would make our lives a lot easier. Until then, here we go. All right, so this next one is apps for digital marketers. So whatever this document is, I know that, and that's going to remind me, right? Apps for digital marketers. The next one is PowerPoint video presentation. So I wanted to do a video presentation on a PowerPoint. And so I asked Ruby some questions regarding that. This next one is the health migraine headaches. All right, so I know somebody who's having trouble with migraines, and the traditional methods aren't helping. And so now I just did a whole bunch of research, and I created a lead magnet actually for that. So now you can see that you can do a lot more than just emails. With this health migraine headaches magnet, I have asked it to come up with some basics, and then I asked it more detailed questions, and I kept going at it, just getting all the information that I want. Now, there's a lot of people that say, well, just go to your browser and read it. No, I'm not reading anything, because I want to take 10 web search results, and I want to digest all of that and put it into a document, and I want the document to make sense, and I want it to have all of those points, and I want to have it written in my tone. And now once Ruby does that for me, then I go back and I edit it and I make it however I want it. So a lot of times, we could do the personality thing. I can tell each of the chat models more about me or what I want the tone to be like. So I can say, I want you to make this so that it's very urgent because it's an important health matter. Or I can say, I want this to be very generic and cover many, many different ways to take care of your migraines. Or I may say, I want this to be serious and technical, but I also want to have a sense of humor, because I know that the human brain is more likely to remember something, recall something, I should say, when it is in an emote of happiness or laughter. So those are some of the ways I can do it. I've done something here. I actually created now a video on hamburgers and meatballs, which have nothing to do with eating food. That's a whole other topic. But my point is that here I have a lead magnet, here I have a PowerPoint presentation, and here I have a video that I created, all using Ruby. So you might say, well, you're not really creating the video. That's right. For this purpose, I'm only talking about the text portion of it. I'm not going to go into creating a video. The important part of this is to let you know that you can. So you might want to create a video on teaching people to swim. So you can ask any one of the chat models, please create an outline for a video that'll be teaching people how to swim. And then you get the outline, you look at it, you say, oh, wow, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm working with people that are over the age of 65, and these techniques don't seem quite right. So you can then go back and you can say, please customize that for people who are over age 65, or please customize that for people who are under 5 years old, or please customize that for oceanic swimming as opposed to swimming pool swimming, and so forth. And then you can say, wow, maybe I should get into safety. So boating accidents and swimming, or shark attacks and swimming. And then I can say, oh, wow, now I need to know basic CPR for accidents that happen while swimming, and so forth. So it can evolve all within that same topic. For instance, with the health migraine, maybe I went into natural remedies. Maybe I went to preventative concepts. Maybe I evaluated some of the common medicines. Maybe I talked about things that cause migraines, and so forth. So the next one I had planned to do, I hadn't finished this yet though. So this is, it says browser shortcut grouping and opening. So what that should say is video, because I'd want to make that a video, or lead magnet, or article, or newsletter. So each one of those is going to have different results. If I tell any of the chat models I want to do a presentation on tomatoes, well, if I tell it that it's going to be a newsletter, I'll get one result. If I tell it that it's going to be an article, it's going to get a different result. And if I tell it that it's going to be a video, I'm going to get still another result. So all of these things are possible with Ruby, and hopefully you're understanding now that it's seemingly endless already. And we are only talking about one of the aspects of Ruby AI, which is the Intellichat. So there's a lot of things to think about when using this. And here's another one. I asked it to, provide an accurate weather forecast. And so the thought was that I would each day post something about the weather in I have a very hyper-geographic centric website. It's only about one town, and everything on the website is about that one town. So I thought that I would start with a weather forecast, and I can put that weather forecast on the website every day or on the social page or whatever. And so last time we did emails, we did message posts, and we did one other, we did responses to other people's posts. We only did one example, but you should be getting the idea by now. But there's many other things you can do here. So I did an editorial, and it was called Media Shame. And then I did another lead magnet for Nexus Snap Rewards and Live Good. And in this case, I don't know if I did Give Bucks or something else with it, but I called it the NXR trifecta. So now if I want to go back and edit that, let's say, for instance, that I find out, okay, well, Nexus Rewards came out with a different feature, and I want to add that to whatever document or video I had, then I can just go right back here, and I don't have to then create a whole new conversation. And then the chat model doesn't know what I'm talking about, and so I have to remind it, and it's just a lot harder to do that. It's going to remember what I was talking about and what information it gave me, and so on and so forth. So another thing, we talked briefly about how we can ask any of the chat models I shouldn't say any of them, but some of the chat models to evaluate a set of emails in terms of it being compliant. Well, another thing that I can do is I can paste just about anything in here, and I can say, I created this. I just want you to go through the grammar or make sure everything's spelled correctly, or I can tell it that I need to produce 3 versions of this. One is going to the shareholders, one is going to the public as a press release, and one of them is going to go into the internal office files, something like that. I can also say, I can start off by saying, please create an article, or I can say, please, more specifically, please create an article that would be typical of a newspaper article, so that now the end result is going to be that's going to be read as though it's a newspaper article. So depending on where you want to have your document go at the end, you can let it know about all those things. You can take the same data that you have, and then you can say, okay, now I want you to present this to a friend of mine because that friend really needs whatever it is that I'm talking about. So I'm going to send them an email, but it's not a marketing email, and I want it to be conversational. Or maybe I need to do some role playing. So I say, well, please create a model where one person is asking a question and another person is answering the question. So go into this document that I gave you or that you created, come up with a list of 12 questions and 12 appropriate responses. And therein lies another great advantage to this. You might be doing your business or your network marketing business, whatever it is, and you come up with the same objection, maybe in different words, but you notice that you still hit the same roadblock each time. There's this obstacle that you can't quite overcome. Well, now you can go to Ruby and you can say, based on this business, or here's my business, so you can describe it, and you can say, how do I overcome this objection? Or what is the best way to respond to that objection? Or how can I present this opportunity in a way that avoids these 3 top objections? And that is so key. That's so important in sales. If you can avoid the objections, knowing that you're going to get them, then the first 3 excuses you've taken away. And if you've been in sales long enough, you probably understand that the first 3 responses, no matter what those responses are typically not the true responses. So as you start etching away at those, if you can overcome those first 3, you're well on your way for the other party to actually respond with an open mind now. So keep that in mind. These are a lot of different things that you can do with Ruby. So I went just a little bit more in depth with them. So hopefully you're getting a better picture of that. We talked a little bit about going into your history, and we talked a little bit about anchoring. Again, you see there's so many features on Rubi.ai. Don't get overwhelmed. I think it's important for you to understand and be comfortable with everything that we talked about thus far before you worry about all these extra things that you can do with it. Because if you do it if you use that methodology, you're going to pick it up quicker, you're going to understand it more, and you're going to get a lot more use out of Rubi.ai. That is my presentation. So if you feel like you look like that, or if you actually are like that, I'm going to do that again because there's a little square on the top. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to stop my share. That was so undramatic that way. Now, if you feel like this guy, or if you think you might look like this guy, then you might want to see more of these modules. All right, so it's been a great experience with you. I hope you got something out of this. Please do all those things. Click on the bell, like, share, follow, do all those things for me. It's really important so that I can continue my endeavor of me helping other people, and so that everybody has much more knowledge and finds easier way to do stuff. All right, I should have mentioned at the very beginning of the video, which I didn't. I'm Vinnie Martinelli, and you should know me. If you don't know me, you should get to know me. We can be friends. Click on the bell, follow me. Have yourself a great day. Take care now.